Edit Soldier here, and I'm back to talk about The Bad Batch, Season 1, Episode 12, and my thoughts on this episode. Not as good as last week. Last week was a lot more fun, a lot more exciting. This week was a lot more tame, and I kind of would like to have seen a full uprising happen in this episode, but we didn't get it. There was an interesting scene between the clones and the clone commander, which I actually did love and think's pretty interesting. But other than that, yeah, this episode kind of boring, and I'm kind of shocked. Last week we had a great episode. Now we have another boring episode. The first two-parter of this whole series, and yeah, I left kind of annoyed. I was expecting a lot more from a rescue of Cham Syndulla episode. I don't know anymore. You know, when I used to watch Clone Wars, you used to get excited about every episode. Now, you only get a few good episodes, and the rest seem to be either filler or boring. Now, I'm not saying that this episode needed to be exciting as hell, but a little bit exciting. A little bit exciting. For goodness sake, what happened between the clones in this episode? That would have been interesting to see where that went. And we didn't get to see that, because it just ended on a very stupid cliffhanger. So yeah, for me, kind of disappointed with this episode. I was hoping for a lot more, and I am starting to see the problem with this series is definitely The Bad Batch and Omega. Because last week they were barely in the episode and it was a great episode. I don't know. I don't think The Bad Batch is strong enough to keep this series going. I'm sorry, I'm just going to admit it. It just wasn't exciting. When The Bad Batch came on the scene, everything just became boring again. I don't get it. The Bad Batch used to be exciting, but they seem to be cucked by Omega. I'm sorry. So yeah, disappointed with this episode. Could have been a lot better, but it was okay in some places. Now I'm going to go into spoilers now, so if you don't want to hear spoilers, leave now. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so episode starts off with us seeing that Cham Syndulla and his wife are in prison. The Admiral pretty much, tells them what they've been arrested for the attempted assassination of Talmsi, whatever. Yeah, it turns out they didn't retcon his murder. Apparently he's still alive. I don't get why you'd actually keep him alive. I mean, wouldn't it make more sense for him to be dead? Make more sense why people on Ryloth might be actually angry with Syndulla with the murder of the senator, not the attempted murder. So they didn't retcon that, so at least they're trying to stick to Disney canon, but I think it makes the story seem a bit stupid. Again, attempted murder, fine, but murder would have been better. We start to see the relationship between Syndulla and the clone, and I found out the clone's name is Hazer. Now, Hazer is definitely an interesting character that basically this episode showing we're never going to see again, unfortunately. But what happens between him and the clones is so interesting. The clones that finally said no. I know people are going to say, didn't the Bad Batch say no? Didn't Rex say no? Yes, I get it. But they're all lead characters. If the clones start turning on the Empire, where you actually saw clones actually start to say no, maybe we could see more of that. Maybe we could see a full uprising. And that's the main reason the Empire get rid of the clones, because most of the clones decide not to do their duty. So again, that was actually interesting, and I wish they had explored that a lot more than just having Hazer do a speech to his clones. Why did he just get some of his loyal clones together, attack the Empire? I don't know, help Ryloth become independent. I know they can't do that, but it would have been interesting to see them try instead of just surrender, which is what they did. So we go back to Hera. Hera pretty much doesn't know what to do. Then she decides to ring up Omega. Omega tells the Bad Batch that Hera needs them. The Bad Batch head back to Ryloth because Hera promises to pay them, which again in this series is ridiculous because at the end of this episode, Hunter again doesn't accept money. This is just like with the Bloody Sisters. Okay, I get it. I get they're trying to show Hunter as this good guy, but there's a point where he's just being an idiot now. Okay, they are giving you money, Hunter. Would you just take it? God, that annoyed me as well. Stop doing that with Hunter. He shouldn't be an idiot like that. I know some people are going to say he's being nice, but no, he's being an idiot. Anyway, so the Bad Batch do a reconnaissance of the capital to see if they can free Syndulla and his fighters. They find out that Crosshair is there. They also get spied on by an Imperial drone, but Hunter takes it out. But this alerts Crosshair that they're on the planet. And I'm starting to not get this. Why has the Empire lost so much interest in the Bad Batch? Throughout this series, the Admiral has not given a shit about the Bad Batch. An elite Spec Ops unit that's gone rogue and they don't bother with them. I don't get it. Like, they escaped your facility, they've killed your men, they've damaged other Imperial properties, and you haven't gone after them yet. You've not sent a battalion after them. Because when you watched it through this show again, which I had to, yeah, it's just Crosshair's the one after them. And it's just like, why is he the only one? Why is the Empire not concerned about this group? So yeah, that also annoyed me, because I don't get why the Empire would be just so, happy with just letting them go. Anyway, but whilst the Bad Batch is viewing the capital, you see the Imperials trying to tell the people that Syndulla is a traitor. They've arrested him. You start to see the Empire take more and more control, as I expected we would see in this episode. And yeah, that's again more interesting. Like to see more of that, but we didn't. Hunter and the Bad Batch get back to Hera's secret hideout. Hunter says they can't do anything because he's too well defended. Okay, I'm kind of getting sick of this, because this seems to be a trope with this episode, with the Bad Batch. Omega seems to be the one pushing the Bad Batch to do stuff, and Hunter seems to be the one saying they can't do stuff. Okay, stop this. Hunter should see the logic in helping Syndulla. They should have connected them somehow. Said, as soon as Hunter hears that Syndulla, say that they've worked on Ryloth, maybe they've had like dirty missions on Ryloth to help the Twi'leks. I mean, that would have been interesting just to have that sort of connection between them, not just Hunter saying, "Oh no, it's impossible. We're going to leave now. Bye bye." That just felt annoying to me. Again, I don't think that would be Hunter. I think Hunter would accept, like, listen, he's a freedom fighter. I used to be a soldier. I want to help a fellow soldier. I think that's what should have happened. Not, well, Omega feels upset, so we have to go get ourselves killed because Omega feels upset, which is basically what happened. So they make a plan to attack the refinery to distract the Empire, to divert their troops from the capital, and Hunter and Echo will sneak into the capital to free Syndulla and his fighters. Hera and Omega head to the facility to attack it. Well, no, to turn off the cannons so Echo and Wrecker can attack the refinery. Chopper manages to sneak into the base, but turns out he can't turn off the guns. He gets captured by clone troopers. So Omega's plan is to capture a Imperial shuttle, which they do, which is way too easy in my opinion, and why the hell aren't ships guarded or at least locked down? because it was way too easy for them to grab a shuttle and just steal it. There was a little joke scene that Hera crashes into a bunch of other shuttles, but she manages to get control. She attacks the facility, turns off the guns, and then Tech and Wrecker attack the facility. I did like what they were doing with their ship. They managed to do some skid runs. They were twisting and turning and managed to destroy all the guns. It was that was actually a great scene. Back in the capital, Echo and Hunter sneak into the city, knock out 2 clone troopers, get into the facility, and get Syndulla and his fighters out. At this same point, Crosshair realizes what the Bad Batch are doing, which is distracting the Empire, and he gets a squads together and prepares to capture the Bad Batch. But before they can get captured, the clone commander, Hazar, warns the Bad Batch and Syndulla about the Imperials' trap. They sneak out in On Freetau's shuttle, and Hazar he does his speech to the clones and tries to convince them to, well, he doesn't agree with what the Empire are doing, and he gives them a speech that they came here to free Ryloth, not to enslave them. Which again, I thought would be interesting if he tried to make a small rebellion in the clone ranks. Not just make a speech, put his gun down, and then all his troops put their guns down too. Again, it wasn't a bad scene, I just think it could have been 10 times better, and I would have liked to see a lot more clones put their weapons down rather than 4 clone troopers. But it is interesting to see, we are starting to see clone troopers say no to their orders, which is actually could be interesting if they keep the story going and don't just leave this as a one-off deal. If they do that, then it's a waste of time. So Syndulla tries to pay the tries to pay the Bad Batch. Hunter says no, and then the episode ends with Syndulla planning to fight the Empire to free Ryloth from them. And the episode ends. I would have liked to have seen his wife die. We don't see her in Rebels. This would have been the perfect episode to show what he loses at the end of the war. It should have been Hunter and Hunter and Echo trying to free Syndulla from the base, from the city. They can't free them. They get into a massive fight. The Bad Batch shuttle comes in to rescue Syndulla and his fighters and his wife, and then Crosshair shoots his wife. That should have been the episode. There should have been a reason Syndulla becomes so hateful of the Empire. That's why it should be why he's so desperate to kill so many Imperials. Like we see in Rebels, like how much he wants to kill the Empire. That should have been the whole reason. At the end of the war, he loses his wife because of the Empire. That would have been fun to watch, and would have been interesting for his character. But I don't think Disney want to kill a woman, so I don't know. But yeah, that's the end of the episode. But that's what I would have done. It's not a perfect episode. There was some good stuff about it, but for me, last week's episode was 10 times better, and I did expect a lot more from this episode. Well, that's my review. If you like this review, give it a like. If you dislike this review, give it a dislike, and do think about subscribing if you like my content. Hey, I was the Founder Menace. Long live CG. Fuck SJWs. Bye.